So we're going to do something amazing right now. We're going to tap into the power of manifestation. We're going to tap into something amazing. This is Rabbi Mordechai here, and we're just going to go flying, and we're going to go into it. So this powerful tool that we're going to do, this powerful tool Hashem has given us that we're going to utilize right now, which is his Torah. And we're going to utilize the power of the 7 days of creation, the aspects of what Hashem created in the 7-day sequence, right? From Bereishit all the way to Le'asot, those words that encompass all of the creation that ever will manifest, that ever will exist, and that's what we are currently living in. We're living in an expression of these pasukim, right? This is what we see. This is reality. Our angel Malak comes to our mother, teaches us the entire Torah. That's how we're able to recognize and see what's going on around us, and not be in a state of shock as we're born, coming out of our mother's womb. And so this process of focusing on manifestation, and focus on thinking and creating reality is an energy we're tapping into. The same power that God used to create the world, we're tapping into that power just by seeing the Hebrew words, by feeling and connecting to the energy that is coming down in this world. Anytime you're saying Torah, we're connecting to the original power for manifestation. So anything that you're missing in life, anything that you want to see manifest, comes through a process, through a series, right? From thought to manifest, from action to inspiration to action, there's a process. This process is on a macro and on a micro level, on a physical and on a non-physical level. So what we're doing is we're going to take the non-physical energy and we're going to bring it into the physical world. And this physical energy we're bringing in this context is the energy of manifestation, the energy of alignment with Hashem. So what we're going to do is we're going to read through it. Hashem should give us the strength to go through it, and then we're going to read these days and the creation of it. And in between each day, I'll stop, just in case if a person doesn't read Hebrew, they'll know that, this. So we're starting. Bereishit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'ha'aretz hayata tov v'hu v'choshek al pinei ha'hom ve'ruach Elohim mar chafes al pinei ha'mayim v'yomer Elohim yehi or v'yira Elohim et ha'or ki tov ve'yavdil Elohim ben ha'or u'ben ha'choshek v'yichara Elohim le'or yom ve'lechoshek Kara l'layla v'yahi erev v'yahi boker yom echad. So that was the first day. So in this stage of creation, everything that will be created, everything that will manifest in this world was created in these words. When Hashem says Bereishit bara Elohim et hashamayim et ha'aretz, this is the creation of the world. And there's so much depth to this that we're not going to go into, but we do want to connect to that seed level and manifestation, because everything you experience, say tomorrow, started when Hashem said Bereishit. It just didn't manifest itself till later. And that's what we're going to see with all these days, that everything was created on the first day, but it didn't fully manifest until later on. So this is the second day. Vayomer Elohim yehi rekia beitok hamayim vehi mavdil ben mayim le mayim ve'asa Elohim et harekia ve'avdil ben hamayim asher mitachad le rekia uben hamayim asher me'al le rekia vehi ken ve'ikara Elohim le rekia shemayim vehi erev vehi boker yom sheni. So this is the second day of creation. This is where the heavens and the stars and the formation of the expression of the reality starts to manifest itself. And so this is the idea of having an idea or inspiration, and then that inspiration starts to turn into an idea. You just get inspired and you start thinking, and now that that feeling of inspiration, or that thought of inspiration is now forming itself into something finite, something tangible. So from here, we're going to go to the third day. Vayomer Elohim yichavu hamayim mitachad hashamayim el makom echad ve'tara Habasha ve'yiken Veikara Elohim leyabasha eretz mikveh hamayim kara yamayim vayira Elohim kitov vayomer Elohim dashe haaretz doshe etzev mazria zera et peri ose peri lemino asher zera obo ad haaretz vehi ken be tose haaretz deshe etzev Mazria zera leminehu ve'etz ose pari asher zera lo leminehu ve'ra Elohim kito ve'hi er ve'hi boker yom shelishi. So this is the further expansion, right? First we start with the heavens, and then we're going to this aspect of the physical reality, but it's that idea of building out, right? Right. We're on this third day. Now we're building out this idea. Now we're even getting a structure, right? Now we were in a stage of inspiration. We were in a stage of having a finite thought, and now that thought is expanding into now a structure, an idea, a concept. It's growing into that, and we understand that there are aspects where Shem says he says Vayomer Elohim Yichavu, gather Hamayim, the waters, mitachat Hashemayim, underneath the heavens, al makom al makom echad, into one place. In this idea, I said this over Shabbos, I gave this guy like a bracha, he's on a trip, but I was saying this whole idea of bringing all the holiness, all the water represents the holiness, and the idea of bringing everything together, bringing all the holiness together in this world and have it underneath the heavens, right? And this idea of having it underneath the heavens into one specific place is the whole point of creation. This is the whole point. This is why we have Am Israel. This is why we have this whole experience, is to be able to get us all into one makom. We talk about this idea of everyone just kept one Shabbos, right? And then it says, and again, we're not going so into it so deep, but we're still building, right? We're holding by third day. And the key word is like this. Ve tarea, right? Ve tarea habasha. And appeared dry land, a dry surface. Now, you could learn that out a lot of ways. But if I'm saying that the whole point of creation is to take the people, the holy people, and bring them into one place underneath the Shekhinah of Hashem, and then there was a dry surface that appeared, that means that the physical world that we live in no longer has value. It's just a dry surface now. It's not luxurious. It's not all these things that they show us don't exist. It's just a dry surface that you recognize because you're underneath the heavens with a collective group of people. So this is this expansion aspect of now the idea is now becoming a fruit, and it's now a full concept. And now you understand what's going on and what it is. And so now we go to the fourth day. Vayomer Elohim Yehi Meo Merod Verikia Hashemayim Lehavdil Ben Hayom Ben Halalayla Vehavu Le Oto Ve Umi Ule Moadim Ule Yamim Ve Shanim Ve Havu Le Torod Berikia Hashemayim Le Ha'ir Al Haaretz Vehi Kin Ve'yasa Elohim Et Shene Hamerod Hagadolim Ed Hameor Hagadol Lemishalet Hayom Ve'ed Hamaor Hakatan Lemishalet Halayla Ve'ed Hakokobim Ve'aten Otan Elohim Birakia Hashemayim Leha'ir Al Haaretz Ve'lim Shol Bayom Uve'layla Uve'havdil Ben Ha'or Uven HaChoshek Ve'ira Elohim Kito Ve'yehi Erev Ve'hi Boker Yom Revi. So now that this idea has a full concept and you understand the thought, now we're moving into this place of now how do we experience this idea, right? Because this is where a concept goes from a inspiration to a thought to a full-blown concept. And now we're in a place where we want to experience that idea. And so when you want to experience that idea that's in your head, that is the beginning of action. That's the beginning of bringing things down into this world. That's the beginning of connecting the dots. This is the connection from the upper world to the lower worlds, from the idea of the idea of thought consciousness to the idea of physical manifestation. And so in this fourth stage, this is where we're at, right? This is where we're at. And so this idea of being able, like it says, Bayom ve'layla uvehavdil ben haor uven hachoshech, right? It says and on that day, that day at night, Hashem separated the light from the darkness. Ben haor uven hachoshech. He separated. So this is the separation of thinking that we go through into this fourth phase. This fourth phase of the manifestation, which is now that we're not just in the idea phase. Now we're an idea of experience. And so the darkness represents the physical manifestation, going into the physical world to build out this idea. And then this is where we go forward. Vayomer Elohim Yishwatsu Hamayim Saretz Nefesh Chaya Ve'ofef Al Haaretz Al Pinei Rekia Hashemayim Ve'yivara Elohim Et HaTananim Hagadolim Ve'et Kol Nefesh HaChaya Haromes Asher Seratzu Hamayim Leminehu Ve'et Kol Of Kanaf Leminehu V'Elohim Kitov Ve'Yivarech Otam Elohim Le'Orubuhu Umil Ed Hamayim Ve'Mayim Ve'Ha'of Yerev Ha'aretz Ve'Hi Erev Ve'Hi Boker Yom Chamishi. So now we're in this place where now we're in this place of expressing, this place of say of netzach, of that, and now we're now in this place of wanting to connect and to leverage this idea and to bring it to life, right? And in this part is where things get weird, and sometimes we can lose our focus, and this is where we can, sometimes that idea and that inspiration can all fade and it never manifests, right? And that's where we're at with this fifth phase, which is the recognition that at this stage that our job is to experience this inspiration that turned into that eventually turned into an idea. And now we want to experience it. We want to branch out. We want to be able to see who was this idea, or this idea that was given to me by Hashem, the master of the universe. This idea that was given to me, how can I use this idea to bring more light into the world? Even if it doesn't matter what it is, if you want to make popcorn, right? If you have a thought to create popcorn, understanding that the only reason why you have a desire to eat popcorn is to do brachot. That is now taking that desire and now bringing it in a place where it could start to envelop and develop physicality. And then now you're starting to find people it connects to, situations that it connects to, and now it's taking on a personality of its own, right? Now it's taking on a personality of its own. And now that it's taking on a personality of its own, those relationships have to be strengthened. They have to be, expanded, exacerbated. This intimate connections have to be created. And so that brings us to the holy sixth day of creation, where everything was brought forth. You have vegetation, sea creatures, stars, sun, moon, everything's created. And now the inhabitants, the idea now is living. And that idea is on earth. And so that's a more expanded process. We have to take time to think about that because we've accepted that this idea is only given to us to connect us to Hashem. And our job is to find out how that idea connects us to Hashem, the master of the universe. And then once we understand that process, that's the beginning of bringing it all the way down into manifestation. Because only through those umbilical cords can we manifest with holiness. Vayomer Elohim totzei haaretz nefesh chaya lemina vehema veremes vechayeto eretz lemina vehi ken veas Elohim ed chayat haaretz lemina veed habehema lemina veed kol remes hadama lemina hu ve'yir Elohim kitov Elohim, Elohim, Naaseh Adam Betzalemenu, Kidmoteno ve'yirdu, Vidgad Chayam ve'uve'ov Hashemayim, uve'behema, uve'kol ha'aretz, uve'kol ha'remes, ha'romes al ha'aretz, ve'yivara Elohim et Hadama, Betzalem, Betzalem, Elohim bara oto, Zecher Unicha bara otam ve'ivarek otam Elohim ve'amor lachem Elohim paro ve'ravuhum umilu ed haaretz ve'kivashuhad urdu vidgal hayam ve'uve'ov ahashamayim uve'kol Chaya ha-romes al-haaretz v'yomer Elohim hinei natati lachem et kol esev zorea zera asher al pinei kol haaretz ve'et kol ha'etz asher bo peri et zorea zera lachem yehiyeh li chalav u'v'chol chayat haaretz uve'kol hashemayim uve'kol romes al haaretz asher vo nefesh chaya et kol yereg esev li lechalav vehiken v'yira Elohim et kol asher asa vehine tov me'od vehi erev vehi boker yom hashishi. So now that we went through that whole process of really bringing everything down and connecting those dots and creating that world where the personality of this idea, of this concept, of this inspiration can flourish and become who it's supposed to become and connect in this world the way that it's supposed to connect inside of this world. Now that we're in that place, now we could start to see that idea manifesting. And it's so important to see it. It's so important to see the conversations that are happening because of this inspiration. It's so important to see the people who are coming together, the relationships that you're making, all the brakot, all the halakot, all the things that go into the decision-making of this. And now you've seen that this inspiration that came was a device for holiness. It was a device to bring everything together. And this is the dynamic of going into Shabbat. Shabbat is the entire week of all the whole process of manifestation of different tikkunim that we have throughout the month, throughout the days, throughout the years. And that process of tikkunim that we have is the same process of manifestation of thought, that it happens in stages. And so Shabbos comes along and Shabbos teaches us that at this time, this is now time to recognize creation. Now is time to recognize the manifestation and the connectivity of these ideas. So on Shabbos, we don't cook. On Shabbos, we don't do malakot. Why? Because we are watching, we're experiencing what was done during the week. And in that same way, we are experiencing the process of manifestation of the idea that came to us as an inspiration, that was a thought that eventually turned into a concept, that eventually that concept had a desire to even express itself greater. And it brought itself down into this world and it connected and created umbilical cords and developed a personality. And then it went even further and it expressed itself. And so now we're at that final stage where we recognize and we look at the manifestation of that idea. And this could be done on so many levels. This could be, hey, I'm hungry. I want to go out. I want to get something to eat. And you have a specific food you want. And when you think about that process of manifestation of that, when you think about that process, this is the same process for our own personal soul. This is the process for the entire world. So as we're going to continue on, I'm going to do a part 2 to this because I want to be able to go and give more insight to the words. I want to translate these Hebrew words, and I want to be able to express what these words mean and the power of these words and how these words are essential to building the ability to manifest, the ability to all the vacant spaces that we have in our life, we can put one of these days in creation in those, meaning we could take the Hebrew words, we could take those letters, we could take that light, and we could put it inside of that vacant space in our life and now create a bridge between where I'm at versus where I'm going. Baruch atah Adonai leolam, amen ve'amen.